What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dirty Degens, a new channel focused on the same stuff, same guy, but different channel. My name's Josh, and I will be going over some meme coin stuff today. Namely, what meme coins could potentially be good pickups while we are in a little bit of a meme coin bear market for the last couple months now. Now, as you guys know, if you don't know, I'm a big meme coin fan. I like playing around in the trenches and hanging around. And, it's been pretty stale lately, that's for sure. So, looking to find some good pickups or not even find, looking at pickups that I've enjoyed for quite a while and are at a great spot before the market turns around. But before I get started, what's going on, Danny? Nice to see you. Thanks for hopping in. Crazy Uncle, great to see you as well, of course, always. It's probably going to be a little quiet around here for a while, but we're still going to do the dang thing anyways. So I guess let's go ahead and hop into it because there has been some interesting stuff that's came out recently. Some of it's not too surprising, but let's go ahead and get into it for now. One of the first things that I noticed recently, and that we've all noticed, obviously, is that pump fund has been completely decimated. But that's not entirely bad, but it's also not entirely good. As a result, you've got Solana that's having a complete collapse in network earnings. If you scroll down here, you can see the chart. I mean, they basically had no earnings in the first place, and it just exploded when pump fund started catching fire. And now it's basically back to early 2024 levels. Dex volume, oh, come on. Dex volume's about the same thing going on. Like it says here, January's peak pump fund was facilitating 1.7 million token launches every single day, which is just crazy. But now it's down to not a whole lot of anything. But pump fund is making a lot of changes. They're actually dropping radium and they're starting up their own decks. So it could change the game of pump fund a little bit. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work yet, but it might be get a little bit interesting. Maybe it'll be a little bit worthwhile to play over there, because before, bots could track when tokens were going to graduate and migrate over to radium. So they would set up snipers to snipe them as soon as they migrated and then ultimately dump them after that. So with the migration happening seamlessly now just within pump fund, it could change things quite a bit for pump fund itself and just how meme coin launches in general go on pump fund. So I'm kind of looking forward to it, but I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work out. Personally, I'm still against these token launchers, as I always have been, but we're stuck with them. So what can you do about it? Sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. And, of course, pump fund or radium noticed how much revenue they got over the course of the last year from pump fund being active on their platform. So what are they going to do? Of course, they're going to launch their own. So they've got launch labs coming out so that they can do the exact same thing pump fund does. And it's actually just a fork of pump fund, just with different features, and radium instead gets to keep all of the revenue. So they'll be much happier for sure. But that's really about it for pump fund crap. I don't want to talk about pump fund too much, but however, Solana itself, Solana meme coins have not been doing well recently. Arguably, the only one that's been doing okay is like Fartcoin. It randomly had like a 40% pump here in the last couple of days, and that's not one of my favorite tokens. The upside's pretty limited right now on Fartcoin, especially. However, there are ones that are extremely community driven, highly organic, and still with a very active community. And namely, the one that I'm talking about more than anything is Unicorn Fart Dust. Now, they have came down quite a bit in recent months, just like everything else. So, ignore the chart a bit. But if we zoom out, it's really in a good spot for picking up, because as you can see, after that first day, it was already at nearly $100 million market cap, and now it's at 35 mil. And it's basically at its low that it's tapped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times now. So it's in a pretty good spot. I'm liking this pickup. I've been bagging a little bit. And also, they just broke 40,000 holders. So you can see that there's still a lot of interest in UFD for sure. And the distribution's pretty solid as well. Not too shabby. I mean, when you got 40,000 holders, you have to have good distribution for sure. But that's not all. UFD is also being listed on Kraken, which did not see that coming so soon. Kraken, we're going to talk about a lot today because they're going all out with meme coins and just listing them one after another. It's quite shocking to see, but with how the regulation environment is, it's not too surprising, especially after meme coins were called collectibles by the government. So that gives them a little bit of more open pathway to start listing all of these memes. And that's why we're starting to see this trend happen more and more. I think once UFD does list on Kraken, it will be, I think we could see a good solid pump off of it for sure. But yeah, I think that's a pretty big deal that it's coming to Kraken. Aside from that, though, of course, when we move over to Avalanche Chain, I'm, of course, a big fan of Big Red. For those of you that aren't familiar with Big Red or that have not been around Dirty Degens or Alpha First in the past, Big Red is what started out as a meme coin on Avalanche is now an RWA. So what Big Red does is they actually own a stable of horses that NFT holders on Big Red or of Big Red actually own a portion of the stable, right? So now they currently have 5 horses. We're getting back into spring and summer now. Well, summer's a little bit later, but with spring, that means that these horses are going to start racing again. And that's why this is important, because as these horses race, that generates income for NFT holders. And not only that, it also generates income for the project itself, which 15% goes back to buyback and burn. So it impacts the chart. Overall, extremely good. And the next race that we have also coming up on that 10,000 holder mark, just 2,000, 2,200 away. So not too bad there. But speaking of races coming up on Tuesday, we actually have the first race that we've had in a while. And this is going to be a big deal, a big race, because this horse was actually sold or bought in a claiming race, and they bought it back and they raised the value of it. So now it's less likely to get claimed because it's in a $60,000 claiming race, but it is actually one of the favorites to win the race. So that's a pretty big deal for Big Red. I will be watching that race on Tuesday because I love that. But aside from that, there are some others on Avalanche that I also love. One of those being Cock Inu. Cock Inu is also having quite the growth today, if you know what I mean. But they're looking pretty solid today. They're up a good bit. I mean, let's see how much they're up actually. Up about 9% today, if I can. Yeah, up about 9% today. So not too bad at all. But Cock has a ton of things going on. Notably, one of their biggest things going on is that they do actually have Cockbook. And what Cockbook is it's basically a sports betting app, right? So you can bet on major sports. Also, you can bet on harness racing too. So like what Big Red is involved in, you can gamble on that too. So that also provides revenue for Cock, as you would expect. But there's also more than that. Cock just last week had their record-breaking trading volume. 10 million. Well, it's not their record breaking. It's their record breaking in a year. How about that? But so you can see they haven't done that since 2024 April. It's been a year since they have done that. But not only that, 65% of that volume was buy volume. So that's very heavy to the buy side. It shows that there's still a ton of interest in Cock. No Diddy, right? Something like that. But yeah, so it's huge for Cock. Not only that, there's rumors going around that they're actually working on a layer 1 with Avalanche with support of the foundation. So that's also going to be massive if they decide to go that route and they actually do that. So ton of things going on for Cock, still a massive community. Everything's big about Cock, right? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, everything's looking great for them. And also they are another one that is pending a listing on Kraken. So major exchange listings means more exposure. Normies are able to buy easier for everybody to get it in their pocket and in their wallet. So that's a big deal for Cock. There's not a lot of ADA exchange or not a lot of AVAX meme coins listed on major exchanges. So this is a huge step for Avalanche and Avalanche meme coins. Big for the ecosystem overall. Paying a ton of attention to Cock, and I'm getting my hands on it as much as I can. But that brings me to Base. And you can't talk about base without talking about my favorite project in the ecosystem, and that is Chuck. Now, Chuck has what I argue to be one of the biggest and strongest communities there are in base in crypto, period. This community is strong. They're grinding. They're out there every single day. Not only that, they've got tons of things going on. They also just launched a tournament on Medicaid. So you can compete for Chuck tokens. Not only that, on Medicaid, you can also use your Chuck tokens to transact. Not only that, they've got games that they already launched natively for Chuck. They've got more stuff coming. They do like monthly burns as well, burn lotteries. So holders can basically donate their Chuck to the burn lottery, and then they spin the wheel as many times as they end up having to, and you can win a large portion of those donations, right? So it's basically like a raffle. Think about it like a raffle. But love Chuck. I know that they've got some other announcements coming here soon as well, and that could be massive for Chuck. I don't think I'm allowed to say, but if you listen to their spaces, I'm not going to lie, Danny and Ron kind of have loose lips sometimes, so they do slip up on what the announcements are. So if you pay attention and to Chuck, you can find out early what's going on for sure. Love the team over there. Great guys. Danny's in the chat. So yeah. But I do have another favorite on base as well, and that would be Toshi. Now, I called Toshi back in December of this year, right before it actually got announced to be listed on Coinbase, and that was not insider information. I had no idea that was coming. And look at what happened. It shot up to nearly $1 billion. So I called it like back in this range here. I thought that it bottomed out. It was looking good. And then Coinbase announcement happens. And then Coinbase listing happens and it just skyrockets. Now, Coinbase actually has delisted several of the meme coins that they recently listed. However, they have not delisted Toshi. So what's that tell you? When the market picks back up, the majority of traders, at least in the United States, are using Coinbase. And they're going to have easy access to Toshi. It's great for the ecosystem. They've been around for like since 2023. So they've been around for quite a while. They've got 550,000 holders, over 500,000 holders, and they're only at 137 mil market cap. I think that this is an easy one to go back to $1 billion. So definitely picking up more Toshi at these levels. I mean, it's only, a solid 8x or so, but still you can't complain about that. And not only that, they do have a ton of things going on. They actually have the Meow DAO so that holders can basically take part in the future of Toshi. And not only that, this is another one of those I'm not a huge fan of, but this is great for the project, especially. They have Toshi Mart, which is a pump fund for base. So what's that do? It brings more revenue into the project and allows the project to have the capability to do even more things. So it just sets them up for success down the road. So huge fan of Toshi. I think they've got a lot of great things going on. I'm looking forward to seeing what else that they do. And I think it's going to be a good time for Toshi. Now, one of my favorite chains, though, in the entire crypto space is SWI. I love transacting on SWI. I like the SWI team. I like what they're doing. And that brings me to LOFI. LOFI is another one that did have quite a good run up. If we zoom back out, got up to over 250 mil, 252. It's basically retraced all the way back down, just kind of flatlined right now. But it is still one of the lead meme coins on the SWI ecosystem. So basically, and actually, there's a very interesting thing I want to show you about LOFI, because you would think that SWI would be on every major exchange, but it's not. And it's not on every non-major exchange either. Something interesting happened recently. It was actually listed on Cube Exchange, which isn't a major exchange, but it's like a B tier exchange. And it was listed on there before even SWI was listed. So now you've got people that can pick up LOFI on CubeX with zero trading fees, and they're also giving out rewards to people who do. So that's going to entice more people to buy LOFI, and especially when the market picks back up, that's going to bring even more attention. So that's why I am looking at LOFI on SWI. I think it's a solid choice for 2025 for sure. I think it's going to have a good run back up. You can see there's tons of influencers all over the space that are constantly talking about LOFI. They're paying tons of people to talk about it, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just shows you it's likely to get a lot more attention if you have everybody talking about it, obviously. But, something that I haven't talked about in quite a while, and I actually still hold it in my wallet and, check it out every once in a while, try to stay up to date on it. There hasn't been a lot of things going on for it recently. However, it's had a solid run today, and I couldn't figure out why. But goggles, originally, I was talking about this and buying it on Phantom. However, now Phantom is Sonic. It's still on there, and it's one of the biggest meme coins on Sonic. Sonic's starting to get a lot of stable coin, like TVL on the chain. So that shows that users are starting to move over. The DEX volume starting to pick up. And as Sonic and the market starts to heat up overall, we'll definitely see goggles start to heat up as well, even more than today. Unfortunately, I couldn't figure out what this massive pump was for, but I mean, it was just probably largely oversold. Yeah, I mean, like it was coming off. Yeah. So um, definitely something to keep your eyes on. Yeah, I had a nasty dip yesterday. So that's what that is. But now the one of my least favorite chains in this space, like a lot of people, would have to be Ethereum. But one of my favorite projects, basically in all of crypto, happens to be on Ethereum. And that would be Ticker Bitcoin. And I don't know. I just love Ticker Bitcoin. I love the team. I love More Light. I've gotten to meet and hang out with him numerous times now. Always a great guy. Tons of fun to be around. But Bitcoin is actually quite a bit down from its all-time high. I think, yeah. So its all-time high was over here at 375 mil, and it's all the way down at 56 mil right now. It's had a solid retracement for sure. It's down 85%, like a lot of things right now, which nothing to shake a stick at. But Ticker Bitcoin does have their own chain on Barra chain that recently launched just a couple months ago. So you can actually use Ticker Bitcoin like for gambling and things like that. I know that they've got more stuff coming as well, but Ticker Bitcoin's big because there's a massive community behind it. There's a lot of interest, some die-hard community members. I call it a cult. Everywhere you go, if you see something that even resembles it, people know what it is. Like it's everywhere. So if you go to conferences, you see people dressed up in Ticker Bitcoin stuff all over the place. The community is absolutely large for Ticker Bitcoin. And I just love it. I think it's hilarious. The art's hilarious. The community is very vibrant as well. They can be a little out there for sure, but I'm still in the Telegram and they are just popping every single day, all day long. I'm keeping my eyes on this. I think this is an amazing spot to pick it up. Even if it goes down a little bit more, I wouldn't be upset with that pickup whatsoever. And yeah, if you want their Twitter account, they actually got theirs banned by Twitter, and they've got a new one. So it's no longer the HPOS 10i. It's now that returns. So yeah, if you're trying to stay on top of Ticker Bitcoin stuff, you got to go to this new account, which here, I'll go ahead and drop it in the chat now for anybody that may have been looking. But now the last chain I want to talk about though is SNEK, because, or not SNEK, it's Cardano. That's because there are two projects on Cardano that I really like for meme coins anyways. And you guys will know them, I'm sure, but they are basically one of the leaders in the Cardano space for sure. And that is SNEK. SNEK has, I've called SNEK also extremely early on, and they're actually hanging in there pretty well. This is an important level for them to hold, but all things considered, I mean, they did not have nearly the drawdown that some of these other projects have had. So they're down like 63 or 62%. That's nothing compared to 85% like we saw on Ticker Bitcoin. So it's a much lower, and largely that's due to it's on Cardano too. Cardano people just kind of have diamond hands. It's not on a lot of exchanges right now. There's not a lot of DEX volume on Cardano either. So it's easier for SNEK to kind of hang in there. But I do think we'll see a very strong resurgence of SNEK. And there's a lot of things going on for it too. So they're working on obviously a decentralized brand. They're trying to fuel the adoption of Cardano. But what's really important that they're doing is, they're also being listed on Kraken. Wait, that's not the right tab. Well, yeah, they're being listed on Kraken. This isn't the right page, but aside from that, they're actually so they launched a SNEK.fund just like Toshi, right? So it's another pump fund copy, except this one's on Cardano. Again, same thesis there. It brings revenue into SNEK, it brings revenue into the Cardano ecosystem, and not only that, it's going to bring meme attention to the Cardano ecosystem. So this is very big, and they're partnering up with Tap Tools as well. So that's massive. Tap Tools is like the number one place to go if you're trying to look at anything Cardano based. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of bright things in the future for SNEK for sure. Not only that, they're another one that is going to be listed on Kraken. Kraken's just listing all the memes. So you can see LOFI here. You got Cocky, you got SNEK. I mean, three of the tokens I was talking about today, all being listed on Kraken in a very short time. Very surprising, but great to see. And also Sonic. Sonic's going to be listed on Kraken too soon. So that'll be good for Sonic. It's weird that a lot of these major exchanges actually did not support the migration of Phantom to Sonic. I was very surprised about that. But the last coin I want to talk about on Cardano would be Baby SNEK. Baby SNEK's another one that I called early on, sub like 700K market cap or so. They got it as high as 10 mil and they fell back down, but they're holding pretty well over around 2.3 mil. Now their fall didn't happen necessarily in accordance with the overall meme market fall. So not too bad there. But again, Baby SNEK's another one that has a lot of stuff going on. It's just getting more and more bullish for them. As you can see, we got a nice little wall of buys coming in too. But what they're doing is they actually partnered with IP Ventures. And what IP Ventures is they're the animation studio and like basically marketing team behind Pudgy Penguins and other projects too that I'm really not all that familiar with. But they also were involved in many shows too. Like you can see Lego's Legends of Chima, Johnny Test, and HBO Max's Squish. So these guys do amazing animation work. And unfortunately, due to copyright reasons, I can't show you, but like just look how good this stuff looks. And so really, Baby SNEK's kind of taking a page out of Pudgy Penguin's book, except they're doing it a little bit differently. So before Pudgy Penguins had NFTs or a token, they had their physical plushie line, right? And it's sold in like Walmart and Target and online and all that stuff. And then they had the shorts and the gifts. I mean, there's like 10 billion views of Pudgy Penguin gifts on the internet or more. I don't know. I don't really keep track of GIF views, but SNEK had the token first, and then they came out with the plushie, and now they're acquiring the Pudgy Penguins, like part of their team in a way, you could say, to help push them even further. And the plushie does look dang good. I've got one. It's incredibly clean, high quality, very good stuff. But they're actually coming out with even more plushies, right? So they're gonna have more lockables, more RWA assets. I did a video a couple months back with the founder of Baby SNEK, and he said a lot of good things about it. I'm pretty sure you can still find that video on Alpha First if you wanted to go look for it. A little bit long interview, but it was definitely a good one, worth checking out for sure, especially if you're interested in Baby SNEK and what they've got going on. But not only that, there's aside from doing the deal with IP Ventures, they're also starting a $15,000 a month marketing campaign. So that means that very soon here, we're going to see a lot more Baby SNEK around, a lot more attention. And that's why at these levels that we're seeing here, I mean, I know it's only 2.3 mil, but that's quite an attractive price point for me. I mean, if you zoom out on the daily, you can see it's came down quite a bit. It had that high at like 12.3 mil. And I think with the right recipe, we can see a large resurgence back from Baby SNEK for sure. An easy 5-10x, easy. Especially with SNEK getting on major exchanges, it's going to bring attention to the Cardano ecosystem. You may not think so, but it definitely will, for sure. That's about all the tokens I planned on going over today, though. Doesn't look like we've got too many people in the chat. Ryoshi says TD. Yep, love Big Red. However, if there is anything else you guys want me to check out or go over, I've got plenty of time. I can I can hang out all day if there's people around that want me to check things out. But yeah, got any questions or want me to look at anything specific? I guess just let me know because I'm down to go over anything. If not, that's okay, and I'll be back soon. This is my channel, just my channel, so I'm free to do what I like. Um, yeah. What do I think about macro? Well, the macro environment's pretty rough right now. I think there's a lot of uncertainty. Um, there's, the tariff concerns are definitely hitting the overall market as a whole, but there's definitely some interesting things going on right now. I saw some stuff earlier that could very much so change the entire landscape as we know it. I guess I can go over some of that stuff too, but let's see here. Where is it? So, yes, the IMF. Now, the IMF has been Bitcoin and crypto haters and basically trying to stomp it out for years now. And this could change the macro environment, at least for crypto, because now they are basically calling Bitcoin digital gold like we have been for years, and they're adding Bitcoin to their reserve basket. Not only that, they're also considering coming up with a strategic Bitcoin reserve as well. And this is the same IMF that tried to stop El Salvador and the US and other third world countries from getting involved in Bitcoin and crypto. Not only that, the IMF just recently gave El Salvador a loan, and part of the terms was that they couldn't purchase any more Bitcoin. Just for them to a couple weeks later turn around and say, "Oh no, we love it." So I think that's actually going to be a big deal. But I do think overall, Danny, in the macro environment, we're going to have a lot more uncertainty for a while. I don't think we'll really have a market turn for a couple months here. Probably like early May or mid May. That's kind of how I'm feeling. I think that in May, we're probably going to get a rate cut, and that once tightening stops, I think that's going to really relieve the market quite a bit. Yeah, the macro environment's just not a great place to be right now, for sure. But things are starting to look better, so loving that. Um, Yeah, you think you will have more clarity after April 2nd, after the tariff stuff becomes clear. Yeah, what I'm worried too is though he's still talking about more like retaliatory tariffs. So there's the chance that we get even more tariffs. I'm hoping that they end up just being a lot of threats so that he can get what he wants and then no tariff happens, because the more we get tariffs, the more it's going to impact the market. So we really need some clarity on what tariffs are going to happen and if we're going to just continue to nonstop tariff everybody around, right? But yeah, I definitely agree. That could definitely have a big impact if he's like, no, we're done. And this is what we'll do. If this is what we'll do, or this is when we'll stop the tariffs or something like that, right? More clarity would definitely be good, because right now it's just tariff after tariff after tariff. So yeah. Yeah, I fully agree. Best case is that they negotiate and the market understands what it is and digests the info. Yeah. Market does not like uncertainty whatsoever. So all the uncertainty that we're seeing, it's just kind of shitting on the market, for lack of better words. Yeah. I'm looking forward to see what comes out of economic news this week. Sailors talk like teasing that they might buy. Not only that, I saw this too earlier. Again, this is another one that was posted on Cryptos R Us, but Bo Hines is talking about how they may sell some of the gold in a strategic gold reserve and buy Bitcoin with it. So that could be a big deal. We'll see if that actually happens. I'm a little skeptical on that, if that will even be allowed to happen. They're just talking about things they want to do. This still has to go through a ton of approval and things like that. So I wouldn't get too excited for that quite yet. But if it starts to make progress throughout, regulation, could be a very big deal. I think, though, especially if the IMF actually goes forward with what they're talking about, we're going to see that light a fire under everybody's ass quite a bit. So that could be a big deal. That's why I say the IMF thing is a lot bigger than it may seem at face value, because a lot of countries look to the IMF for guidance, right? So if they're like, well, we're buying Bitcoin, well, then everybody else is going to be like, well, we're also buying Bitcoin. And then it's just a race to see who can acquire Bitcoin the fastest. See Big Red's in here. What's going on? That's probably Armando. How you doing, Armando? Thanks for tuning in. It's a little bit a little quiet around here, but I think in due time things will pick up. I had to wait 24 hours to stream, and actually I was worried I wasn't going to be able to stream. I got up this morning and somebody reported one of the shorts I posted, and it got taken down. The channel got deleted. I had to fight it, like all within 24 hours. Crazy. And now the short's back up too. It's just stupid. But I guess yeah, we'll see how all that goes. But I'm still going to be here. I think I plan on doing more content than I was before. I'll probably do some general market stuff. I'll do Memecoin stuff. I'll do I want to do some Web3 gaming stuff, probably on the weekend, so I can just kind of relax Saturday morning, play some games, whatever. The stream I tried to do yesterday didn't go great. Yeah, but it'll get better. It'll definitely get better. I'm trying to figure out new and better ways to improve and to give you guys more content. So if there's anything specific you want to see, just let me know. You know, I'm happy to do all sorts of stuff. There's many different aspects of the space that I pay attention to. So yeah. Your TikTok got banned. You managed to get it fixed. Yeah, I was surprised. It told me that it could take up to 2 weeks to get the account unbanned. And it happened in like 5 minutes. So that was good at least. Otherwise, I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought maybe I was going to have to like start another new channel or something. And there's a lot of work that goes into that. So I'm happy that didn't happen. But yeah, I guess on that note, any of you guys that are here and you're not subscribed, if you kind of like what you're seeing, maybe consider smashing that subscribe button. Yeah, we usually have a couple hundred people in here. Now we have 10. So it's quite a bit different, but it'll take time. That's okay. I'm here for the long haul. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do a TikTok and stuff though. I don't know. I don't even watch TikTok anymore. I got like kind of addicted to it during COVID, and I only get on it to post things for Cryptos R Us anymore. So I probably won't do a TikTok. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But appreciate you guys coming to hang out. Looks like viewers might be starting to die off a little bit. It's been a half hour, so probably go ahead and hop off. But I appreciate you guys all tuning into the first episode on Dirty Degens. I decided I'd just stick with the name. A lot of people kind of just refer to me as that, so I thought it might be even harder if I came up with a new name. So yeah, but yeah, stay tuned to Twitter or even YouTube, and you'll be able to get notified of my next show. Other than that, you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, and take care. And I will see you very soon. And I'll go ahead and play this to close this out, because why not? I love this video. Cass killed it with this one. Peace.